guys, welcome back to my channel, Michi Makes Up. Today's video is going to be kind of experimental, a little bit different from videos that I have done previously. I'm going to talk about skincare and makeup products in 3 different categories: the good, bad, and ugly. So it's a video where I give you an update of some products. Some of these I've been using for a long time. I think the longest one I'm looking at is probably 3 years. And some that are more recent that I know I just won't repurchase, or in some cases where I definitely will repurchase the product. So it's a product update and just product successes and fails. I would have to say, I think because I don't do YouTube full-time, I do have a full-time job where I have to go into the office. I have to be pretty selective about the makeup and skincare that I choose and to review for you guys. And I just don't have the time to do more. And I wish I did. So I think I'm lucky in the way that most products that I purchase, especially on the makeup side, I've been able to avoid a lot of those fails. But there are still some that made it into the bad and ugly category. And before I get into all the items, I do want to say this is based on my experiences, and I totally understand if you have a product that I place in the ugly category, but it works very well for you. I understand. And the opposite could be true too, where item I have in the good category is not something that worked for you. And if that is the case, please definitely let me know below. I'm just interested, because sometimes maybe it's the way that I'm using the product, or maybe I should be pairing it with something else. Maybe I should be using a different brush with it. Any of these cases, I think it's good to have a discussion, kind of exchange information that way. So let's head on to the good category. This first item here is something that I will not go without if I can help it. I'm currently not using retinol, but the moment that I can use retinol again, I will be putting this back, or introducing it back into my skincare routine. So this is the U Beauty Resurfacing Compound. I've gone through probably, and this is 50 milliliter, it's their largest size. I've probably gone through 4 of these in the past couple of years. It's many products put into one, and it could essentially replace a few of your masks, a few of your serums. And I did exactly that with this when I introduced it into my routine. And I have a whole video on this as well. If you're interested, I'll have the link below. And it still gets quite a bit of views these days. And I think this is a product that, is becoming, it is already very popular amongst those in the know, but I think there's still, a larger audience it can reach. And so I think a lot of people are, just becoming aware of this, and I love it. There are occasional discounts with this. It is a luxury skincare item. If you're interested, I'll have a link below. Definitely look out for those discounts. And if you do want to try this and you don't want to wait, you can actually purchase with a subscription, where you can configure your subscription to your preferences. So you can tell them to send you a new one of these every 3 months, 4 months, 6 months. I think 6 months is the longest you can go. But you can also cancel at any time. Anytime you can do it yourself. You can email customer service, they're responsive. And the reason why you want to purchase with a subscription is you will receive 20% off every time they send one out to you, including your first order, and free shipping. So whether you try it for the first time or you're reordering and you're not aware of this deal with a subscription, my recommendation is go with a subscription. The second good item that I have is not something I've been using for too long. It's been about a week. And because I've stopped using retinol, I really have a gap in my skincare routine. And over the past 2 months where I stopped, I really started noticing more breakout. Some areas of my skin gets pretty dry, especially these 2 areas here. And I just needed something to, lock in some moisture, give me the additional moisture, and just like good stuff to nourish the skin. So I tried Beauty Counter's Counter Plus All Bright C Serum, and it has 10% vitamin C plus turmeric. For those of you who are not aware, Beautycounter is a clean beauty brand. They do have a actually pretty extensive list of ingredients they avoid, and they actively, within the states, influence legislation so that companies are held more accountable for the kind of ingredients they can put into skincare and makeup. Use this, I think the first night that I used this, you're supposed to use it during the day, but I just really wanted to try it, so I used it the first time in the evening, and since then I've just switched to daytime. I already, the next day, noticed a difference in my skin. Since then, I've noticed like certain things have cleared up. I still have, breakout here and kind of just where typically oil builds up really easily and there's more oil production, but it just clears up a little bit faster. These areas here are more hydrated and it is more brightening. So I'm extremely happy with this. When they first came up with this, I think they did send a lot of influencers to try, or beauty content creators, and everybody had a lot of good stuff to say about it. But I think the hype is real. I really love this, and I think it's filled in some of the missing gaps I have from stopping the resurfacing compound. The third item in the good category is also skincare. You'll notice that in the good category, there is noticeably no makeup items that I'm going to talk about because I always cover makeup items in my monthly favorites, so that is why. But this third item here is also from Beautycounter. It's their Countersun Mineral Sunscreen Stick, SPF 30. It is also water resistant for 80 minutes. This is the closest I've come to finding a sunscreen that is non-greasy, does not leave a white residue, that does not feel heavy, that, with my natural oil production, it doesn't add to the oiliness, greasiness throughout the day. And it doesn't make my skin itchy because I sometimes just react to sunscreen that way, especially the ones that are also moisturizing. And this is a physical sunscreen that is formulated with non-nano zinc and California poppy. It also provides antioxidant rich protection while being gentle and pleasant feeling on the skin. So I agree with all of that. It also has cocoa butter infused formula, glides on smoothly without leaving a white residue. So that is all true. This is my go-to sunscreen, not for the extra heavy days, like days where you're out in the sun all day, you're at the beach. I would say you do need something a little bit thicker than this in terms of texture, but this is a great everyday. And maybe if you're just hopping into the pool to lounge and you can kind of switch between like the shade and a little bit of sun, this would be okay too. But it's not really a beach day sunscreen. But I do love this, the closest I've come across to a very comfortable sunscreen to wear on a daily basis. Well, now that we've gone through all the good items, let's move into the bad category. So in the bad category, I have first here the Beautycounter. This is their Counter Control SOS Acne Spot Treatment. I know a lot of people actually like this, and I'm not saying that it doesn't work. It is 2% salicylic acid, but it is not strong enough. So whenever I felt that, I have a breakout coming because I'm starting to feel like sebum, feel it, or there's like some itchiness and pressure, that the skin might not even be raised, but it's just irritating. I apply this in hopes to either just stop the breakout or have it heal faster, or have the breakout kind of go through the cycle faster. It doesn't do that for me. And I think the reason for that is probably because of cystic acne, hormonal acne. I don't think it's as effective. If it's like a small blemish, I do think the 2% salicylic acid helps, but it just, for my needs anyway, it is not something I find myself relying on, but it does feel nice and light. It's cool when you place it on. It is a gel texture or gel formulation. So while it's not something I would recommend for acne control, SOS treatment, I can see why some people might really like it and have found it useful. Instead of the Beauty Counter SOS acne treatment, I use something else that is heavier duty. And it is a completely different brand. It's from Evanescence Organic Skincare. This is their Acne Advanced Clarifying Hydrator, and it is encapsulated salicylic acid, which it's intended for a time release, and it's supposed to work or be effective for a longer amount of time. This hydrator you can use all over your face, but because of the salicylic acid content, it is quite drying. So I use it as spot treatment, especially in the evenings. It does say that you can, or it does recommend that you apply it on your face and neck, or those areas, those spot treatment areas, for 1, 2, 3 times daily. Typically, I do it twice a day, once in the evening, once in the morning when I really feel like something is coming on. And this has helped me either stop a blemish from really forming, or just makes the whole process a little bit faster, the healing a little bit faster, but it is drying on the skin more so than this. So that's why I consider this heavier duty, because it just is stronger and more potent. The next bad item is from Natasha Denona's. This is the Mini Crush palette. I am really sad to have to include this. The quality of the formula, the shadows, are not like her other minis that she's released in recent years. And I love the color story. I also love that she, during Valentine's Day for the last couple of years, always had something for the event, always released something. And it's always really cute, it's pink, and she's done so many spins on it, but still it's kind of different from, last year and the year before. It's just the formulation. And given what she is known for, I feel like this is something she needs to nail every single time. I think it's okay if not every matte and not every metallic is going to be as creamy as her most creamiest formulas and shades, but it's gotta meet a certain standard, and this was just not there. The mattes are pretty patchy. The metallics are not quite as creamy as really most of her recent palettes. So for that reason, or all those reasons, this is why it's in the bad category. The next item is actually from Sephora by Sephora. This is their Pro Full Coverage Airbrush, brush 53, and I believe they still do make this brush. It's made up of synthetic fibers. And the reason I purchased this is I had a makeup artist at Sephora use it on me, and I liked how my foundation looked. So I bought this thinking that I would be able to replicate her technique and do what she did. And then on top of that, use it for contouring as well. You can also use it to kind of pack on concealer, or at least that's what it says in the description at the time anyway. It's a little big for that, but it's supposed to be multi-usage given the shape and the size of it. I have just not been able to replicate her technique. And I find that for something like this, there are way more beginner, intermediate friendly fan brushes that could do all of those things I just mentioned much, much easier. And I have to say, because I've gone over to Fude, Japanese makeup brushes, in the past couple of years, I have not gone back to this brush. The times that I have, probably the last time was 2 years ago, and it was just to do some cream contouring here. It was very frustrating. It's very thick and dense, but it moves the product too much. Like, it moved my foundation underneath, and so I've just stopped. And whenever I see this, I just feel very disappointed, because the cost of this brush, at the time I probably paid maybe like $35 US. This was several years ago. Prices should have gone up by now. And when I look at a Sonia G fan brush, and this brush is made up of synthetic and natural hairs, the combination ratio is just night and day. This buffs and moves the product just enough to not disturb anything else you have underneath. And if you are applying foundation, that first layer, you're gonna get really nice, even coverage. And then if you clean off the brush, you go back in to do a cream contour, it will do all of that without just have it being an easy experience first. And second, not a hassle. It's just so much easier. While you can't purchase this alone, this does come in a limited edition set. She does have other fan brush options that you could consider, and you can purchase them alone. So when I look at the price of those individual brushes versus this, you get way more mileage out of her brushes, for example. I'm just using Sonia G as an example because I have a lot of experiences with her brushes just from using it over the years. But I am certain there are other synthetic brushes, synthetic fan brushes, other synthetic foundation and natural hair brushes that just beats this by like miles. So for all those reasons, this is in the bad category as well. My last bad category item also breaks my heart that I have to put this here. I don't think this is a surprise for fellow Chanel fans, but this is the Chanel Quad Allure et Éclat. Beautiful shades. This shade here, this plum burgundy, really pretty. It's the standout shade from this quad. And even this kind of blush pink is really pretty as well. But look how light it is on my skin tone. It's winter, so I'm about light to medium, but definitely on the light side. So I just swatched this shade here because I want to show you. Can you see anything on my hand? Nothing. And then let me go in, because this is the lightest. This is more of a glitter texture. You can see more of this because there's more glitter in it. So when the light hits it, it has a more dramatic effect. And I'll go back into the deepest shade. You probably know why this is in the bad category. And even for somebody with very fair skin, I don't know that you could use this as a one and done. It's so light. It's like a brow bone highlight, inner corner highlight. And this is to give texture to a very light shade already. Like what are you gonna get out of these two? You can put this all over your lid, but I don't think it's gonna even show all that much. Very limited. You can mix this and this shade to get like a third shade out of it, but wow. What were they thinking? I don't know. I don't know. If they were gearing this color story towards, people with maybe a lighter skin tone, more lighter skin tone friendly, okay, I'm just not confident that that is the case either. You let me know if you have this quad and you do have light skin tone. Well, you let me know what you think of this. I don't want to just talk about this as if like I know what it's like on everybody's skin tone, but I'm just during the summer, during the winter, when my skin's probably like 2 shades lighter than it is in the summertime, I just have, yeah. When I did the review video for this, this release came after the Fleur de Printemps collection, which is just, they so nailed that one. Both the quads and the blush and highlighter duo compact. So I did have high hopes for this quad as well. It just didn't even come near. And I remember somebody had commented and said, beautiful look that you created, but this does nothing for you. And I was like, well, let me try it again. And I still think the shade is really pretty. And I use like a burgundy stilo from Chanel to pair with this look. And I did like the look, but afterwards did not find myself going, I've never used this again. I think that says a lot. So definitely bad, in the bad category. Moving into the ugly category, the first item, and I love her, but I want to be very honest based on my experiences, is the Lisa Eldridge Seamless Skin Enlivening Blush. I love the pigments, the shades that are available in her range when she released this. But it seems like a number of the shades, and I picked up 4 total, or maybe 3. Some shades were very difficult to dispense. And if I press any harder, I feel like this is gonna blow out. And it happened to one of the shades, so I threw it out. You have to squeeze it, but because of the pressure, sooner or later, this part, it's gonna tear because you're just, you know, the air that's in here, you're just pushing it out because it's not coming out this way. I have not seen anybody talk about a workaround. If you email their customer support, you contact their customer support, even if it's months later, they will immediately either, they'll replace it if it's in stock. If it's not, they will give you a refund. So customer service is excellent. If Lisa Eldridge were to release more shades from this line, I would actually still go and purchase it. I love her lipsticks. I love her highlighter. I think her foundation, the one that doesn't require any powder, I just love that she is trying to do new things in the industry, and most of the time, the majority of the time, the results are just excellent. So I don't know why exactly. I don't know if it's like, well, I suppose it is the packaging, but I don't know what of the product formulation for certain shades makes this an issue. So that is the ugly part of it. But I will say, this shade, which is probably one of my favorite from her, Pink Soap, no problems. I can get this product to come out without any issue. It is not quite as smooth as it would seem because the product itself is very smooth and silky, easy to diffuse. But the way that it dispenses, like, you still have to use more pressure than you would think you have to. So there's something going on there. I hope in her next iteration for when she restocks, they have this part figured out. And, you know, like I said, I really, really love most everything that she's done. So the next item, I'm also sad to include it in the ugly category. This is from Mob Beauty. This is their mascara. A couple weeks ago, I tried their eyeshadows, cream blush, highlighter, lipstick, and the mascara for the first time. I liked all the other products. The lipstick, I think I'm allergic to because it gives me this like tingly feeling that doesn't really go away quickly. So I think I'm allergic to it, but I love the pigment and the creaminess of it. Also really enjoy the shadows. The mascara, the first time I wore it, it did not smudge and I thought it was amazing. There was a little bit of flaking. So I tried it again and then again, so 3 times total. Both the other 2 times after that first time, there was just flaking like all over within 2 to 3 hours of wearing the mascara. And by the afternoon, it looked like as if my mascara smudged. And so I'm just so surprised because over the years, I've tried a number of different mascaras from different brands, clean formulation, other luxury brands, and I've never had a mascara that flaked like this. The product is fresh. I don't think it's an age issue. So it's disappointing. You know, I thought I found another good mascara that does not smudge and is of clean formulation, but seems like it's not going to work for me. And I didn't do anything different. So same primer I always used whenever I wore the mascara, which is the NARS. And same eye cream. So I think this is not going to work out, even if I were to try a couple more times. The last item in the ugly category is from U Beauty. It is their Super Smart Hydrator. This product came out a year and a half after the resurfacing compound. Huge success. And I had really high hopes for this. The Smart Hydrator is supposed to, as the name implies, just kind of know how much hydration your skin needs, and it will kind of do its thing. That's what it's formulated for. I use this day and evening. My friend who introduced me to U Beauty, the brand itself, she was using this already and she liked it. She just said that she needed to use more than just 1 pump. So I was really prepared when I got this to increase the volume I needed. So I think I went from 1 pump for a couple of weeks to 1.5 pump, eventually to two pumps, which is quite a lot of product. Let me show you how much you get with 1 pump. And when you're using a roller, which I have my Jade roller here, it goes a long ways. So I definitely felt like I adequately covered my entire face with one pump, but I knew I needed more with just one pump, so I went up to 1.5 without even having an issue with it. And the thing is, while it's emollient, it still feels nice and creamy, and I felt like my skin was hydrated. But a few weeks in, I'm like, oh, actually it's kind of dry, especially this area here. So this is my problem area as well. Added 1.5 pumps, and then eventually it still felt dry. So went up to 2 pumps. And then I think at the end of 2 months of using this product, some areas on my face, like this area here, some areas here, were just getting to be really, really dry. So I thought, wow, I think it might be the Super Hydrator. So I switched back to the cream I was using before, which is from Beauty Counter. And within a week, all my, dryness related issues went away. And that's when I knew. And I never went back to the Super Hydrator again. I just stuck with the Beauty Counter cream. Very disappointing. It's a luxury brand. I expected it to, if it required 2 pumps, sure. But any more than that, that does not meet my expectations or my standard. It's that, there's all this technology and research that went into it. I expected more, and it really did not meet any of that. It's not something I would purchase again. That is the end of the ugly category. It really pains me to talk about products like this, but I think it is helpful for you guys to hear, even if you would never use these products anyway. But if you were considering it, hopefully you found this transparency and honesty helpful towards, future purchases. There is one more item. Actually, I was just showing you guys my Jade roller. I was going to include it into the bad category, but I feel like I'm taking 50% of the responsibility because there is a user error here. There's a user problem. So this Jade roller is made up of authentic jade. It is naturally cooling to the touch. In the beginning, I would put it in the freezer because I just loved how cool it was on my skin. It turns out that I can't do that. Like, my skin can't take that. It doesn't deal with that kind of coldness on a daily basis very well. So eventually I kind of had rosacea because of it. I do think putting it in the fridge is really nice. If you have a skincare fridge, it might just cool it just enough, but not too cold. Anyway, it's naturally cooling to the touch, so you don't have to put it in the fridge or anything. You can even run it under cold water. But here's the problem. After every use, I always just use a little bit of soap and put it under warm water, because without the cleaning, eventually it's gonna gunk up these surfaces. So this side I use for under my eyes and the eyelids, and then the bigger side, the rest of my face, neck, décolletage. I love that. I think the design is great. However, if you were to clean using running water, especially warm water, and probably with soap, and it's not a harsh soap, it's like the 7th generation brand, so it's a very gentle soap. The glue, which this piece is attached to, it's gonna lose its adhesive functionality, effectiveness, and this is gonna happen. So I think it took maybe 6 months. It lasted for a while. That's the part I take responsibility for. You're not supposed to put it under water as often as I did. Probably the best thing to do is to soap up a warm towel or something, wipe it, or just wash this part and this part without putting the full thing underneath water. The concept is going to be the same as not doing that with your brushes, not soaking this part, because they do use glue to bind these hairs and bristles to the ferrule itself. So it definitely is a user thing. However, with brushes, you're not meant to wash them as often. You're using on powders, you can wipe it on a microfiber towel to get the oils and the makeup off. But this is much more intimate. And some of the products that I use will go bad as exposed to oxygen. And you're meant to wipe it all off before you use it again, because it can cause skin reactions, breakouts. I know for me, actually my eye cream, if it's past the expiration date, I might get like a few, because it's 6 months, and I might get maybe a few more weeks. But the moment I open it, that countdown starts. And as it passes the expiration, once it starts to change color, it gives me a reaction. So I know I had to keep this clean. And therefore, the other half of it is, this might not be the best long-term tool. Some tools that are just a single piece, no hinges, no attachments, that might be my upgrade for this tool in the future. So there's the good, bad, and ugly, plus the Jade roller. Let me know below what you think, if you have differing opinions than myself, whether something that hasn't worked for me but has worked for you, or the other way around. I'd like to know what that is. Thank you for watching. See you in the next one. Bye.